Okay, perfect. So it's live streamed. Let me take a look at the chat and see which questions you guys have sent through. Um, okay. So question number one. By the way, before I get started, there's a few things I want to talk to you guys about. The first thing is everyone in the chat and on Zoom today, you must have your real names. Anyone who's not using a real name will be kicked out, right? Last last week, we had a student who was putting inappropriate names and sending inappropriate messages, and they were kicked out. If you were to continue to do that, we've asked Zoom themselves because we sent a report to Zoom. So Zoom will be logging all the IP addresses of people who are joining the Zoom meeting today. So for those of you who don't know, an IP address is essentially like your a signature, like your online signature, which identifies approximately which location you're logging in from, and it also finds out which device you're using and things like that. So based off that, we will be reaching out to students who we do find are messing around in that way. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to change your name to your real name. If you don't have your real name, you will be kicked out. Okay? So
Melvin,
I've said it now. I hope I won't have to repeat it again. If I have to repeat it, actually, I won't be repeating it. I will literally just be kicking students out. Okay?
Melvin, could I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Could I keep my name as Jake because people find it hard to pronounce my real name? So could I keep it as
Sure.
Jake?
As in, it just has to be a real name. That's it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get started. So a lot of you are sending me questions through. That's amazing. I love that. So I'll be happy to go through the questions. If you have any questions, just send it in the chat, and then I'll be going through those as well. Okay. Awesome. And just a few more reminders about, like your behavior or like how to behave appropriately in the class. Make sure to stay muted unless, like, I ask you to answer a question, things like that. Otherwise, it just gets too loud. And if you do have questions, you have to send it in the chat. I won't be answering questions where you just unmute and then, speak up. Just because, again, it just becomes a very, very loud, disruptive class. I'm trying to go through some questions. I'm happy to go through your questions. It just has to be fair for everyone. Okay. So, okay. So let's get started. Question number one. Okay. Question number one is question four. So let's take a look. Okay. Question four is really like it's pretty straightforward. All that's happening is that all the shapes are going, all the boxes are going up by one, right? So if I show it to you, it just goes up by one and it's here. It goes up by one, it's here. It goes up by one, it's here. And the next one should go up by one, right? Another way to kind of easily visualize this is take a look at this T here. If you look at this T, it just goes up and then you can see that same T there. Do you guys understand? Yep. And as you can see, in question number four, we had a double up where we accidentally had two of the answers exactly the same option. Now, some of you would have had the corrected version. As you guys, as your tutors might have told you, we had two separate versions of the booklet that were printed out. There's not any major differences in the booklet. The only difference is one of the booklets is where we quickly spotted some of the errors. So for example, we spotted this error that was different, and then we spotted another error here, and then another difference here, and that's it. That's the only difference. But there were just two versions printed out like that. But in essentially the pattern itself stays the same. A quick thing I want to remind you guys, right, about this question for your for your actual gate exam in the future is whenever you get a question like question four or you get a question like question five, the most common patterns for these types of questions is that it either goes up. Sorry, yeah, it either like is split into quadrants. It shifts up, shifts left, shifts right, or shifts down. Do you guys understand? There's usually like
Yep.
only a few set of things that could happen. It could be like into quadrants where you have four things. It's all moving up, it's all moving left, it's all moving right, it's all moving down, or the whole thing is rotating, like all of it at once, it's rotating. So those are usually the only few things, that could come up. But other than that, it doesn't change that much. Okay. Um, Naveen, I hope I've answered your question. I would ask you, as I mentioned past few lessons as well, to not spam the chat. It does get very distracting as I'm teaching because I can, see your chats on my screen. So Naveen, please don't do that again, okay? But I did answer your question. Did you get my answer?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, the person who asked me question number 4, Zainab, do you understand question 4 now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Shriram, you sent me a few questions. So what I'll do is I'll try to get to answer everyone's question, like at least one question from everyone. So Shriram, which question would you like me to do first?
Question number 9.
All right, let's take a look. Question number 9, again, was fairly straightforward. When you see these types of question, right? When you see a question like question number 9, what you should like instinctively think of is, it's kind of sad. Like these notes are very beautiful. I don't want to get rid of them. Let me see if I can make a copy of this. Copy page. Okay, is there 2 copies? Did I make a copy?
It'd probably be at the very end.
Oh, does it go all the way to the end? Oh, actually, no, it just comes up here. Perfect. Awesome. So when you look at a question like question number 9, right? What I want you guys to think about is this shape, like you have an L like this. So let me show it to you here. You have an L like this. And what I want you guys to think about is the dot or whatever that's moving on this shape, or it could be any random shape. So for example, it could have been, let's just say you have a box, and then it could have been like a W like that. Whenever you see something like that, usually the dot is only, it can only move through that shape, right? So in this question, we can see that the dot is only going through each of the edges of this shape. Do you understand, Shri?
Yes.
Yeah. And then because of that, we only have 4 locations. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now you don't need to map this question, but I can show you how you can use mapping to do this question. So if you have 4 locations, I'll call this location A, I'll call this B, C, D. Okay. And then you have A, B, C, D, and then the same version would be A, B, C, D. Okay. And essentially, you can fill it out and you'll be able to solve it. So in the first image, it was in location A. Do you understand, Shri?
Yes.
Because it's here, right?
Mm.
In the second image, it's in location B. In the third image, it's in location D. And in the fourth image, it's in location C. Do you follow me?
Yes.
All good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And then now from here, what happens is you essentially find the pattern. So from 1 to 2, how much does it move by?
+1.
Good man. 2 to 3?
+2.
Good man. And then 3 to 4?
+3.
Good man. And the next one should be plus?
4.
Plus 4. So plus 4, it would be from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the original position. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would stay exactly here. Do you get it now?
Yes.
Yep. One thing I do want to quickly remind all of you guys, by the way, very, very good job for joining the Zoom class and joining the Zoom class on time, because one of the best things about these Zoom classes that I'm realizing over time as I'm taking them is that in class, we have to get every single question done because that's something that you all join. So we have to get every single question done. But in Zoom class, because we're just simply revising, I can spend a bit more time going through specific questions and then teaching you small little things that are super, super useful. And a very, very good like benefit of that, or a direct benefit of that, is we found out that students on average who join the Zoom classes get about 12 percentile marks more than students who don't join. So to give you a perspective, if you were on, for example, 78th percentile, if you're in the 78th percentile of students, just by joining the Zoom class, you get up to 90th percentile. Do you guys understand? And the main reason is you get these tiny little, performance improvements, right? Like tiny little things. And those tiny little things make a huge, huge difference, like over time. Okay. So so for question number 9, what I wanted to remind you guys, as that what I was thinking about, was one of the things a lot of students do when they do mapping, or when they look at a question, is when they look at, for example, question like, image number 3, and then they look at, image number 4. I'll do it again, 3 and 4. What they normally say is that, yeah, it went forward 1, and then it went forward 2, and then suddenly everyone thinks that it went backwards by 1, right? So everyone likes to say it goes +1, +2, -1. That doesn't make any sense, right? Usually, most of the patterns are like very simple and very logical. And it's very, very rare that the pattern goes +1, +2, and then goes backwards. Do you guys understand? It usually has to be plus, then minus, and plus, then minus. It never does plus, plus, then minus. Do you guys understand? So
Yep.
the only time
Yeah.
it would go backwards is if you go is if you look at the question and it goes +1, +2, and then if you were to go plus again, like let's just say you have two options. You have option 1 is +1, +2, and then if you go forward again, it goes +6. But if you go backwards, it goes -2. It's only when you have a weird situation like this that you would actually choose the minus route, where you say, oh, +1, +2 goes -2, then it should be -1 again. But it doesn't really make sense when you go +1, +2, +6. Like, what happens next, right? What's coming up next? You can't predict that. So that's the only time when you go backwards and instead of forwards. Yes, Jace.
Isn't there another way you can do it? So it's like from 4 you can add from 4 you can add wait, no, never mind. Doesn't make sense.
Okay, that's all good. All right. Next question, let's see. Om, which question would you like me to do first?
Question 22, please.
22. By the way, good job for using your pleases. I like it. Good manners. All right, question number 22. So, question number 22 is a challenging question just because you needed to break it down step by step. But other than that, it's actually very, very easy. Question number 22 is another example of questions where you can still use mapping, and I would recommend using mapping because I would use mapping in this question. But it doesn't look like an obvious mapping question. And I'll show you what I mean. So the first thing you should do when you look at question number 22 is essentially draw these 1, 2, 3, 4, like this teacher did when she was explaining this question into her class. So a lot of students, when they looked at this question, they said, oh, this is position like here, because this is at the front, this is position 1. And then this is at the back, so it's position 4, and this is position 2, and then this is position 3. That is not correct. You should be looking at these corners to give you a clue. The actual positions was 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although the black in this the black tile in this first image is at the very front, the question is not moving along on which one is the front, which one's at the back. That is irrelevant. Sometimes that could be the case, but in this question, when you look at it, the front tile doesn't make that much of a difference. Okay? Do you guys understand?
Yes.
So let's start solving it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and what I will do is I will draw out a map. Now, in this question, you can draw, the classic 4-sided map, like 1, 2, 3, 4, where you just say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. But if you want to like, visualize it slightly easier, you can just do this. You can just make the exact same question tile just like that. and you can say, all right, I'm going to fill it in. In the first image, the black tile is in location number 2. So I'd say 1 goes here. In the second image, it's in location number 3. I'll fill it in here. Third image, it's in location number 1. So I'll fill it in here. In the fourth image, it's in location number 2. So I'll fill it in here. Okay. Another mistake students said when, I was teaching the classes this week was they said, oh yeah, so, Melvin, I think the black can only go to these 3 tiles. It's not going to the back tile. And that mistake happened because they're not mapping properly. Like if you mapped it, you would realize that, no, that doesn't make any sense. Because I'll show it to you. From 1 to 2, how much does it move by?
1. 1.
1. 2 to 3, how much does it move by?
1.
Sorry?
1.
2.
No?
1.
It moves by 2. All right.
1.
It moves by, it moves, the person who's saying 1, I don't understand how it goes, how this movement is +1. It's not +1, it's moving by 2. It moves by 2 tiles. This is tile 1, and then it's the second tile here. So it's like it goes through to this. So 2 tiles, it goes +2. And then 3 to 4, how much does it move by?
1.
+1, +1. So now we have the actual pattern. It's +1, +2, +1. Next one should be +2.
Plus 2.
It should go start from here. It should go 1, 2, and the black tile in the answer should be at the very, very back. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
Yes.
So the answer has to be either A or B. It can't be C. It can't be D. Okay, cool. Now that we settle down to A and B, let's figure out the gray tile. So the gray tile, again, I'm going to draw my map again. Again, see, like, can you guys see why mapping is just so important? Like, it helps you see these patterns in a much more, like, easier, structured way. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's just so many different ways you can do it. You don't have to do these skeleton map that we taught you, like these maps. You can always do these types of as well, whichever one helps you visualize the best. But you have to write things down. You can't just look at it all the time and just try to solve it by just looking at it. So question number 22, to the gray tile. Another thing I want you to think about is whenever you get a question, and in the question, there is one color or one object, and then suddenly there's 2 objects or more in the later images, it always, actually 90% of time, most of the time, it means that they're overlapping. It means that the gray was actually here. The gray was actually behind this. They're overlapping. It's only in some rare occasions where it's called a cycling question. Cycling. And what's happening is that a series of things is coming along and it goes outside, and then after it reaches a point, it comes back to the beginning. Do you guys understand?
Yeah.
So to give you an example, you might sometimes get a question where you have something like 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box, and then you have 6 colors. So let's just say you have gray, white, black, striped, checkered, purple, and that's it. Purple will then go back to the very end of the line, and then gray will come here. White will come there, black will go there, stripe will go there, check will go there. Do you understand? So then you're wondering, oh, where's white coming from? And then you might think, oh, is it overlapping with the black? It wasn't. This is a cycling question. Do you guys understand? Awesome.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Melvin,
Yeah?
since the gray one's been overlapped by the black one, doesn't it mean that there should only be like 3 squares, not 4?
No, the color's moving. It's not the squares that are moving. The color's moving through them.
Oh, okay.
Kavya?
How often will it happen that you have to look at the front square then the back square?
Oh, are you talking about like when you have squares overlapping and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so it really depends on the question. So when, like, we made this exact same question type in Loyola, like the exact same thing, but just with a different pattern associated with it. And in that, we've definitely used the overlapping as part of the pattern. So for example, in these generality questions, there's things you need to remember. So one of them is, so we learned about map, right? We learned what a map is. Then we
Yeah.
learned what a possible location is basically how many different places we can go to, right? The
Yeah.
other thing you need to remember is this thing called features. Features is basically all the different things that are changing. So in question number 22, there's only two features, which is the colors of black and gray. Sometimes we might have three features, which is the colors black and gray. And then the third feature could be which square is on the front, which square is in the back, things like that. Do you understand? So luckily in this question, you don't need that. But let's just say hypothetically, you were to do this question and then you find out that black, so you figured out the pattern for black, you figured out the pattern for gray, and then you still have two options that are, possibly correct. Then you'll be like, oh, okay, there's this overlapping thing. Is that necessary? Do you understand?
Yeah. So as far as you know, it would not mostly be for the overlapping. It would be
No.
corners.
Don't worry about that at all. Like don't make that assumption. What I'm saying is do one feature at a time, and then when you're at the end of the two, whichever features you've done, and then you still can't finalize on a single answer, that's when you look for maybe the overlapping and things like that.
Okay.
Okay. So
Melvin,
yeah.
I have another question about this one.
Uh-huh.
I can see like 4 portions, then like how can the gray square be like overlapping completely?
Yes. So we literally answered the question just now. Who asked the question? So I think it was Ohm who asked me the question earlier, the same question. Basically, Ohm said the exact same thing. If it's overlapping, why do you have 4 squares? It shouldn't be 3 squares. The reason is it's the colors that are moving. It's not the the squares itself that are moving. It's just the colors. That's why it's still 4 squares. But now that we've done that, let's take a look at question number 22. The gray squares. So the gray squares, if I were to map it out, in the first image, it's in the second position. The second image, it's in the very, first position at the bottom. Then it's in the fourth position here, and then it's in the third position here. So that's the map that we've done here. Do you guys follow me?
Yeah.
And if you follow it, it's pretty
Yeah.
straight pattern. It just goes down one, down one, down one, and the next one should be down one. And the answer is A. A is the only one that makes sense. Do you understand, O?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, next question. Mahi, I can't do week 3 questions yet because that's your homework. We will only be doing that next week. Next, Ishita, I've done your question. Haran, which question would you like me to do first?
Could you please do question 14?
14. Okay. 14. 14 is pretty straightforward. So 14, the color pattern is very, very straightforward. It just goes black, white, gray, right, etc. So it should be white, gray, black. Next one should be white, then it should be gray, and then black. So gray and black, if you were to look at it, there's only one answer, which is C. You should, that should be enough to solve it. But then let's take a look at the pattern itself, right? The dot pattern is also pretty straightforward. So 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, and the left-hand side, it should be a 3. So it could be B or it could be C. And then on the right-hand side, it's always 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, and the right-hand side should be 3 as well. So that's why 14 is C. Do you understand, Harry?
Yep.
Okay. Aryan?
Melvin,
Yeah? Aryan?
I did another way.
Okay.
Yes.
Aryan, what's your question?
In question 14,
Mm-hmm.
in question 15,
Uh-huh. No. I'm
I
not taking
really
any
get-
questions at the moment, Aryan. I'll take questions on 14 if you have any. Otherwise, send it in the chat because I want to
I
give
just
everyone.
have one with 14.
Okay, what's your question about 14?
Well, even though you explained it, I kind of didn't get it that much. I didn't understand it.
Okay, do you understand how the colors worked?
Yeah, I've understood the colors, but not the dots.
Okay, the dots is very straightforward as well. All the left-hand side dots just go up or down by 1. So 5,
Oh.
4, 3, 3, 2, 1. And this one went up 1, 2, and the left-hand side should be
3.
good man. On the right-hand side is always either 1, 3, or 5. So it is 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Do you understand?
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've written it down.
Okay. Avni, do you have a question about 14?
Yes. So for question like 14, the answer B also has 3 on both sides. So
Yes.
Don't-
But Avni, what's the first pattern I explained at the very beginning of 14?
it's like in like order, like goes-
Nope. No. The very, very first thing I explained was the colors. So the colors, if you pay attention, it's always in a sequence. It's black, white, gray, black, white, gray, black,
Oh.
white, gray, black, white. And then in this, we had black, white, and then should be gray. And then,
Yeah.
do you understand?
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. I'm moving on to the next question now. Neha, which question would you like me to do?
Can you please do question number 2?
True. Okay. This one here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 2, it's fairly actually this is a bit confusing. And the reason it's a bit confusing is your first instinct when you look at this question is, oh yeah, it's obviously a clock. Sure, that's pretty obvious. And then when you look at it, oh, okay. So from the first question to the second question, we went up by, actually, let me make a copy. Yeah, from the first question to the second question, we went up by plus 1 hour and 11 minutes. Okay. 1 hour, 11 minutes. Next question, we went up by 2 hours and then 22 minutes. Oh, this is pretty easy. Next one should be 3 hours and 33 minutes, right? Right? Well, wrong.
Yeah.
It didn't go up like that because 244 plus 333 does not give you 517. It should give you 617. So what went wrong there? Basically, this is actually correct. The hours and the minutes that it goes up by is correct. The only difference is they go up separately. So the hours go up by themselves and the minutes go up by themselves. Do you understand, Neha?
Yeah.
So 44 plus 33 gives me 77. But 77 minutes is not a real thing. So you minus 60 minutes away from it to make you like a real minutes number. And that gives you 17, which is why it's there. You understand?
Yes.
And the next one is basically 17 plus 44, which gives you 61. And again, 61 doesn't count. So you take away 60 and you're left with 01. Do you understand?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Next, Chanupa, question number 24. Okay, question number 24. So you have 2 identical looking shapes. Obviously in class, you've gone through the pattern. You guys all know what the pattern is in class and you can see it in the answer key. What I want to teach you guys is how to figure out the question, if from the very beginning, you first see the question, how would you figure it out, right? So first of all, here's a quick tip. So far, we know that there's definitely 8 possible locations, right? We know that it's possible to go here. That means it's possible to go here. It's possible to go here. It's possible to go here. Possible to go here and here, here, and here. So those possible 8 locations. So if we're to fill it out, it should look like this. The map should look like this. Right. Now, just looking at that, we know that D has to be wrong. The reason D is wrong is that it never, the question never split the triangles in this manner. It's always split in the other way. It's always split this way. So D is automatically wrong. That's a quick tip to figure it out really quickly. But from there, let's try to figure out the question. Now, this is a very confusing part. Some of you actually, no, I think all of you will be able to understand this by the end, but you just have to pay attention, right? So far in today's class, I've had 2 questions where I've just explained it and they were not paying attention, so they asked the exact same question again. But for this question, I need everyone's full attention because this is one of the next most important skills in abstract reasoning, right? So basically, what you do is, sorry, did someone say anything? Okay, so for this question, you have 2 identical features, right? Remember when I was explaining the question earlier to Ira, I said that there's not Ira, Kavya. There's this thing called features, map, possible locations, etc., etc. But one of the things was features. In this question, you have 2 features, 1 and 2. So I'm gonna draw with a color, not the color. Let's see, 1. And 2. And the problem is, maybe the next image is this one.
You're cutting off.
Your voice is cutting
Yeah.
off.
It's like
Yeah, your voice
It's
is
glitching.
going-
It's
Your
glitching.
voice is glitchy.
Your voice is
Your
glitching.
voice is
Yeah,
glitching.
it's going super fast
Yeah.
and
it like
glitching.
stops for a while and then like speeds up.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
voice is glitching. I don't know.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. I understand that I think the Wi-Fi was just a bit slow there. Let me see if I can connect it to. Okay, hopefully this should work now. All right, awesome. So let's resume. So in question number 24, as I mentioned, how do you go from one thing to the other? How do you figure it out? Well, basically, it's kind of hard to tell. It's also very hard to tell. What you do is you.
Your voice is
Yeah.
glitching fast again.
Happened again. Your voice is glitching again.
Stop by choosing you.
Yeah, it's glitching again.
Yeah, it's glitching.
Your voice is glitching.
It stopped glitching.
Okay, so let me see if any of this works. All right, give me a second. Let me see if I can try to fix this. I think it's my computer. I'll see if I can fix this. If not, I think I have a solution. Give me a second. Let me see if oh, actually, no, that solution wouldn't work either.
Probably just barely do it.
Maybe I'll do this.
Guys?
Yeah. Well, when your voice is the camera cracking.
Okay, let me give me a second. Let me see what I can do.
He frozen or something?
No, 1 second. Give me a
Ah,
second. Give me a second.
okay.
Okay. So the problem is the power adapter I'm using from my MacBook, it's not strong enough and it's not charging the MacBook. And I think that's why the whole thing is just slowing down and glitching out. But I've closed a lot of my apps. I've almost closed everything else. So this should work. But it might glitch out again. But I think it's very high likelihood that it's going to work. So let's
Yeah, it
continue.
happens a lot with mine.
Yeah, so let's continue. So question number 24, we figured out by trying one of the shapes at a time. And what I mean by that is you start off with putting down 1. And then from there, this square, which direction is it most likely to make sense? Is it most likely to make sense if we were to go in this clockwise manner to here? So it goes like this. So if I were to fill that out, 1, 2, 3, 4, it starts off here 1, and then it goes here 2. What is that pattern? How much does it move by? +4. Or does it make more sense for it to go this way? +3. Sorry, +3. Which one makes more sense? At the moment, it's not very clear because it could be +3 + 3, or it could be +4 +3 +2 +1, something like that. Well, from here, from this side, from this, from what we do from here is then we try to figure it out from the second image, how does it move? So from here, I'm going to use a different color. Let's just say this is where it went to. From here, they both go here. Do you understand? So which one makes more sense? It went +4, and then it went +3, or it went +4, sorry, it went +3, and then it went -2. +4 -3, or sorry, +4 +3, or +3 -2. Which one makes more sense?
3 - 2.
Yeah.
+4.
+3.
And then again, we can still try it from there. So it could either go here or it could go here. So from this position, which one makes more sense? For it to go +1, sorry, it has to go -1 in this case. For it to go backwards again, -1, or for it to go backwards, -2. So +3, -2, -1 doesn't make much sense. +3, -2, -2 doesn't make much sense. So in that case, I'm going to kill off this timeline. So this timeline doesn't make much sense. I'm going to get rid of all of that. So we know so far that the pattern has to be +4, +3, and the next one, it either has to go to here to 4 or here to 4. So does it make more sense for it to go +3, +4, +3, +1, or +4, +3, +2?
+4, +3, +2.
So we kill off
+2, 3, +2.
this one as well. So now we have the map for the first image. So to show that to you guys, I will draw it out like this. So we know that the map for the first one is essentially like this. It started off here 1, then it went here 2, then it went here 3, and then it went here 4. Like that, like that, like that, and like that. So these are the shapes of these are the locations of first pattern. So that makes it easy for us to do the next one. The next one, because we know what the other one, which locations they go to. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it starts off here 1, so then it goes here 2, then it goes here 3. Oh, sorry, I messed up somewhere. Oh no. Did I mess up somewhere? I did, I think. +2, and then and then 3, and then 4. So it goes +1, +2, +1. Next one should be +2 to here. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
And this one also goes +1, and then it just finishes off here. So the answer is C. Do you guys understand?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
For those of you
Yes.
who didn't understand how to split the question, I would recommend you guys, this is recorded live on YouTube. Go back later after the class, rewatch this section because it's very important to learn how to split the two features and figure out the pattern. All right, next question. Let's see. Actually, let me just quickly catch up on all the messages. Voice is glitching, you're glitching. I think there's an accent, something happened to your voice. Okay, cool. So there's a few questions that I'm like, there's just so many messages in between. So if you would like me to answer any of your questions that you have, I'm gonna start fresh again. So send it now. Any questions you guys would like to do it again, just send it now in the chat. Okay, so Theo, we've just done 24 now, so I'm not going to repeat that question again. First one is Melina, question number 5. So question number 5. So Melina, for question number 5, basically you split this question into 4 quadrants, okay? And I want you to focus on one of the shapes. So we have 4 shapes. We have an L, we have another L, we have 2 diamonds, and we have two squares, and then we have 1 square. So Melina, I want you to focus on the single square here, okay?
Okay.
In the second image, it goes to the right. In the third image, it goes down. Fourth image, it goes left. So it's here, it's here, it's here. Where would it go next?
Up.
Yeah, back up again. So basically the pattern is all the objects are rotating clockwise by 1. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? Question number 8. Okay, question number 8. So again, as I mentioned at the beginning, there were 2 versions that were printed out. One was slightly changed. So question 8 was the question that was slightly changed in the second version. So if you take a look at question number 8, in some of you, the left dot is a distraction. For some of you, the right dot is a distraction. The way to know which version you have is by looking at this question number D, where these 2 dots, sorry, not question number D, is by looking at looking at the question and looking at where these 2 dots are. So again, question 8 is an example of a question where you have 2 features and you're trying to figure out how they're moving. So you have the left, if you focus on it, the left dot goes +1 here. And then it goes +1 here. And then you would assume it goes +1 here, but is it not there? Interesting. Let's take a look at the right dot, see if that makes any sense. Starts off here, has to go here, so +1. And then from there, it has to go here so it went +1, then it went +1, 2, +2. And the next one, it could either go +2 or it could go +3, +3. Which one makes more sense? +1, +2, +2, or +1, +2, +3?
+1, +2, +3.
+1, +3.
and
+1, +2, +3.
+1, +2.
+1, +2.
+2, +3,
So from that,
+4.
+1, +2, +3, +4.
okay, I think my internet is messed up. It's gone again. It's glitching out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine today. Yes. We can hear you.
Yeah.
I can't hear you anymore though.
internet is bad.
Yeah, literally, my internet is
Clearly.
Probably like
Melvin. Hear you.
My internet. Nothing is wrong. But my internet
Internet's on. Your voice is still
Your
glitching.
voice is glitching again.
No, it's perfect.
No, we haven't heard anything yet.
I heard it.
Okay, I would really appreciate if you guys stay mute. So everyone who was unmuted, please stop doing that in the future. Thank you guys. because it just gets very, very loud. I know when it's glitching out. I get a notification on my computer that is saying it's glitching out, and I can just fix it, okay? So from here, +4. So from here, +4, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. And the only answer where that makes sense is A. Okay. Next, let's see.
Glitching.
All right, guys, I'm going to do one more question and I'll end the lesson there. So let's take a look. For the final question for today, I'll do question number 23. Because again, it's another one of those questions where you have two things that look the same. So for this question, it goes, we have two things. So we have 1, 2 both here, but then from here, we don't know which one it is. And again, same for these two.
Excuse me.
However, one of the things, yes,
For my booklet, question C only has one tile.
okay, for question 24, 23.
No, for like 23C.
Yeah, so 23C is one tile.
Yeah, for my booklet.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see how the question goes.
Same for mine.
Thanks, guys, but let's see how the question goes, okay? So for this question, okay, so again, as I was mentioning, so there's two features, they're both moving, and we try to figure out how they're moving. So now, what do you do? 1 second, let me just mute all these people. Okay, so a lot of times with abstract reasoning, when you have two features that look identical and they're both moving, quite likely what's happening is that one of them has a very simple pattern, like +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +1. And what I would recommend you guys doing is always, whenever you see a question with two features that are identical, look for a +1, +1, +1 pattern, see if that's possible. And in this question, let's see, this shape goes +1. Okay, that makes sense. +1 here. Okay, that's possible. +1 here. Okay, that's possible. The next one goes +1. So, okay, makes sense. D makes sense. All right, Harsh, I know I'm glitching. You don't need to unmute and say it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, just because it gets very loud and everyone just speaks. It's very disruptive to my class. So I want you to be patient with me today. I have no idea why it's glitching so much. It doesn't happen normally like this, but that doesn't give an excuse for everyone to unmute and just talk over. All right, so as I was saying, usually it has a +1, +1, +1, +1 pattern. And this question, we did spot that very quickly. So that gives us a very easy way to now figure out the pattern for the second tile. The second tile, if we're going, following this 1, and 2, and 3, then it is 4. And now I'm going to map it out. So if I were to map it out, we have, oops, use a different color. 2, 3. All right, if we were to map it out, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 to 2, it is +2. 2 to 3, +1. 3 to 4 is +2. So the next one should be +1. So the answer should have this block filled in, and then the first block filled in, giving us the answer of C. So for the people who said C, you only have one, C, you only have one block, is the question itself different to you guys? Again, but Minal, is the question itself very different for you guys?
Oh, yes. Yes, it's not. It's the exact same.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take a look. I have both versions. I'm gonna open it
Okay.
up and I'll show you guys what your version's pattern should make sense. Okay, sorry, Minal. Oh, wait. Okay, no, never mind. It's loading up. My computer's also glitching out.
Can you do question 9?
All right. So let's
Can you
see.
do question 9, please?
Amp, just give me a second. I'm explaining the previous question. What's your actual name, Amp?
Ahad.
Sorry.
Ahad.
Okay, make sure you have your real name from now on, okay? But we've done question 9 already. You can check it out on the YouTube recording. It was I think, the second or third question we did today. All right, let me take a look at the question for a minute. 1 second, guys. I'm trying to explain. Question 23 first to not now. I feel like a different version. So let me take a look. Give me a moment.
Um,
My whole computer is just so slow right now.
it's okay. We can talk about it later if you want.
Okay, awesome. In that case, that was the final question I was hoping to do. I need to have a quick 5-minute break, get some water before my next class. I'll see you guys next week.